Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello, anglers and Floridians alike. Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, hosted by myself, Brie Gabrielle, and Captain Rick Murphy. Say hi, Rick.
Hey, Brie.
Hi, Rick. Okay, since the holiday weekend is quickly approaching, we are giving exciting tips for a big Independence Day marlin bite. But tonight, we're very excited to have not only an awesome audience, but Chris Sheeder in the house. Hello,
Hey.
welcome.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Rick. Under the bright lights. In
Under
front
the
of the big
bright
camera.
lights, there you go.
You know,
in the
Chris,
spotlight.
I can't think of a better person to come in and talk about blue marlin. You've caught over 1,000, and I can't wait to
Yes,
get
sir.
over at the workbench and talk to you about it. But you know what, Brie?
What?
Just like we do every week, we have to talk about the Marlin magazine.
Yes, we do. The
Take a look at photos.
That's beautiful.
Now, Brie, here in Florida, we have two marlin. We've got the blue marlin, and we have the white marlin. But the thing that happens
Now all we need is a red
whenever-
marlin.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that's so cool about marlin fishing versus sail fishing, and I don't know if
Yes.
you've ever caught one, but the first one I caught, I can tell you, we hooked that fish, and in a matter of seconds, he's jumping 350 yards away and leaving. You never know what's going to happen. I've had marlin jump into the side of the boat. We've had them crash into the side of the boat. Black marlin, which is the marlin that we can see his pectoral fins sticking out. I mean, it's just the marlin. I have the utmost respect for guys that get to fish for them all the time.
Well, that's on my bucket list starting now.
Okay.
Actually, like last year.
We can do that.
We can do that. All right, well, starting us off with a bang, we're going to see what Captain Pat Deneen can tell us about what's going on in the Panhandle region this Independence Day weekend. Hey, Pat.
Say that the Panhandle has arguably the best blue marlin fishing, or the marlin fishing in the state. We got good fishing that occurs from the summer months all the way into the fall. But marlin have been caught every month of the year, and we have some big fish. The Gulf of Mexico record at a 1,054-pound fish was caught aboard the Seawolf based out of Destin. Generally speaking, it's going to take a 600-plus pound fish to win a tournament in the Northern Gulf. The run to the marlin grounds out of any Panhandle port may be as short as 45 miles, but generally it's 60-plus miles. And currently we have a lot of dirty water pushing in from the west, making the further runs necessary, but the reward has been there. When conditions permit, we've got some really well-defined weed lines and rips forming, and these are loaded up with dolphin and wahoo, and where you find the dolphin and wahoo, the marlins are going to be there as well. Troll Spanish mackerel, ballyhoo, a split-tailed mullet as dead baits, a ballyhoo lure combination, or a variety of artificial baits like a black bart, and that's going to get the bite. Particularly, I like the Mold Craft Wide Ranger in black and purple or silver and purple off the left short rigger. We've had a lot of really good marlin bites on that situation. And also use a satellite service like Roth's or Hilton's. The Gulf is a big deal. We don't have a lot of, this is where you're going to have to go. What you have to go to is where the water is. And satellite service is going to help you pinpoint where to fish. There's a photo of my brother, Double D. He's releasing a nice blue marlin while fishing with me out of here in the DeSoto Canyon.
All right, Pat, before we move any further, I want to talk about the Navionics from your region. Now, one of the most famous areas just south of you is an area called the Steps. And as you told me earlier, the one thing that really is cool is how the bottom steps down. You go from 200 feet to 500 feet, then 900 feet, and then obviously 2,400 and even deeper. The cool part about this is Captain Pat says that you're going to have some updwellings and some current rips and that forms there. But right now, it looks like the water's a little dirty, so before you run all the way offshore, you might want to check those charts and those maps to make sure you got pretty blue water. Right, Pat?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, we get some good rips forming there, but I think the best fishing right now is south and east and south is there for sure. Staying offshore rigs, the snapper season, the red snapper season, it's coming to an end, but there's still some really good fish coming to the docks from both state and federal waters. I spoke with Captain Kevin Moak on the Poppy out of Destin. He only fishes state waters, but he's been coming in every day with 10-person limits of 10 to 15-pound fish. And if you aren't catching fish on the spots that you caught them earlier in the season, you may want to try to lighten up your leader, lengthen your leader, use a smaller circle hook, 6 to 10 feet of 20 to 30-pound fluorocarbon, and you're going to lose some fish because you're lighting it up so much to break off. But you're also going to get a whole lot more bites. A small cigar minnow or herring is a great bait, but also pick up some live shrimp. I mean, those snappers haven't seen those live shrimp, so drop that down. That's a great bait for a finicky, snappy snapper, and there's still some 10 to 15-pound fish being landed. Moving inshore, the best inshore report I got this week comes from Captain Sean Chalker over at Bar Hoppin Charters in Indian Pass. And Captain Sean, he's been catching a lot of flounders and some nice ones, fishing live bull minnows and gulp shrimp. He's looking for small depth differences in the bends in the tidal creeks, the potholes in the flats, and also the deeper spots around the oyster bars. Fish your bull minnow on a Carolina rig with a short leader, or if you're going to fish the soft plastic, slowly hop them along the bottom through those areas. Over in Pensacola, Captain Dusty Powers also reports a very dependable flounder bite in the pass and on the rock piles in 15 to 20 feet of water. The best bite in Pensacola has also been on live-based fish right on the bottom. And then staying inshore, the redfish are biting in the passes pretty well in the outgoing tide. The Destin Bridge, the flats around Crab Island have been particularly good. Also, the St. Andrews Pass on the outgoing tide has been very dependable. The best bite is going to be a 4 to 6 inch croaker on a slip sinker rig. Use 30 to 40 pound leader. The fish are mostly over slot with some big bulls being caught. My buddy Harry Madison, he caught a 40 plus inch redfish 2 days ago on his paddleboard right here on Crab Island. And I also spoke with Captain Blake Nelson, and he's reporting a sporadic but frenzied bite from redfish. The schools are pushing the baits up in the Choctawhatchee Bay and the deeper parts of the bay, pushing them up to the surface. It's kind of if you're in the right spot at the right time, you're going to have all the action you want. And there's a photo there of two anglers that were in the right place at the right time. They were fishing with Chuck Kemper of Lucky Chucky Charters in the Sound, and they caught two really big, nice redfish fishing underneath those schools of bait.
All right, thanks for starting us off, Pat. And Lucky Chucky's always lucky, huh, Brie? We're gonna go and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Speckled trout under the lights at night using live baits. Look for the docks that are the deeper moving water, Brie. And then offshore king mackerels at the Pensacola Pass buoy line and over the structures using live cigar minnows and herring.
Psych, this is a kid's show. Just kidding, it's not a kid's show. But we've got
It's a
awesome
kid's
kids
show
on the
over here
boat.
on the Pathfinder.
Yeah, it is. It always is a kid's show on the Pathfinder. Okay, we're going to keep the boat afloat with Captain Tommy Derringer in the Northeast region. You have any fun plans on the water this weekend, Tommy?
Yeah, we actually do, Brie. We're going to get out there and probably see some fireworks, so we're looking forward to it.
Nice.
You know, we have a world-class marlin fishery here in the Strike Zone Northeast region. You know, in my region, the most productive time of year to fish for the marlin is going to be mid-April through about mid-June. Although you can catch them at any time of year, they really seem to like the water temperature to be in the upper 70s to around the low 80s. Now, this past spring was a really good one for marlin here with quite a few fish being landed. And in fact, we had one tournament out of the Conch House in St. Augustine earlier this year, and they had 11 fish come boat side in only 2 days of fishing. So that was pretty good. Now, I spoke with one of our resident marlin experts, Paul Dozier, and he tells me that most of our marlin are going to be found from the ledge to the east side of the Gulf Stream. Now, Paul says trolling lures around 8 to 10 knots is going to be one of the more popular ways to catch them, but dredge fishing is also very effective. Now, some of Paul's favorite lures that he gets from Strike Zone are the black bar, wide-range soft heads, and the polukai lures. Now, he says most anglers tend to stay near the west side of the stream and focus on the mahi. They tend to be really good around that same time the marlin are around. But Paul said if you go a little further out and give it some time, you are going to find some marlin. Now, the bonus is that you do tend to catch some really nice mahi as a bycatch when you're searching for those marlin, because you're kind of looking for the same stuff, the weed lines, the temperature breaks, and the current edges for both those species. Now, I have a photo here. This is a nice blue marlin that Paul Dozier caught off of St. Augustine on a black and purple polukai lure. Now, staying offshore, you know, with this full moon we're having right now, the mangrove snapper bite is really good. Now, I spoke with Captain Jason Hadges from jayhookfishingcharters.com, and he tells me the mangroves are spawning right now, and there's a bunch around, and they're really big. Now, Jason is chumming them up and fishing from about 100 feet on out on just about any reef, wreck, or a ledge. Now, he's using chunked up sardines or bonita and using the same bait once those fish come up off the bottom. He said the toughest thing right now is keeping those massive amounts of red snapper away from the hook. They're just everywhere right now. Now, he'll bury the hook in a chunk of bait and drift it back with his chum, and sometimes he'll add a little split shot just to get it down a little bit more. Now those mangroves are running anywhere from about 8 to 12 pounds, and I've got a photo here of an absolute monster of a mangrove snapper Zach Kraft caught while fishing aboard the J-hook. This fish weighed almost 15 pounds.
The only
That
thing,
was a big dog, though.
Tommy, the only thing wrong with that is it's not in that peanut oil right now as we speak.
That's right. Now, moving inshore, you know, the flounder bite has really started to pick up, I guess just like in Pat's region, and some of the bigger fish have started showing up in better numbers as well. Now, the best flounder catches are coming from around the inlets, right where that cleaner, cooler water is coming in. Now, we have a bit of a thermocline happening with the beach water temperature only about 74 degrees right now, and those fish really like that cooler water. Now, I spoke with Captain Scotty Shank from FullHouseFishingCharters.com, and he's been catching quite a few flounder this past week at the St. Augustine Inlet. Now, Scotty tells me that the best time to fish is an hour on either side of the slack low or slack high tide. Now, the baits of choice have been a big mud minnow, a finger mullet, or a small pogie on a 1/4 to 1/2 ounce jig head. Now, he's fishing in fairly close to those jetty rocks and basically just vertically jigging for those flounder. Now, if you get out there, you kind of want to come prepared to lose some rigs, because if you're fishing it right, you're definitely going to lose some to the rocks. Now, the flounder are also stacking up on some of the real nearshore structure within about 3 miles or so of the beach. And you can use those same baits for them, but you're probably going to want to go a little heavier just to get the baits down. Now, I got another photo here that Captain Gibb from Angry Seas Charter sent me of his wife Danny and their friend AJ Fanon with a nice bunch of flounders they caught on some structure just off the beach in about 50 feet of water. Now, also inshore, you know, we've had some crazy low tides this week, and we're going to continue to have some super low tides for the next week or two, and that means that the redfish are going to be bunched up in the creek. On that last hour of the falling tide and the first of the incoming, the redfish have been chewing in those deeper creek holes. Now, I've just been using a 1/4 ounce jig head with a mud minnow or a finger mullet for bait. And with the water temperatures inshore in the mid-80s and it's really hot, those redfish aren't going to want to move too fast and chase the bait. So I would just bump that jig nice and slow, and you're definitely going to find some slot redfish in those creek holes right now. Now, also, if you get out real early, just as the sun comes up this weekend, you can fish the first of the incoming tide with a skidder walk. The redfish have been fired up early when the water is a little cooler, and they will come up and they're going to blast the top water right now. I would look for concentrations of bait both along the intercoastal and up on the flats and toss that top water skidder walk in those areas. And hey guys, be safe and have a great 4th of July weekend.
All right, thanks, Tommy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northeast region. Captain Tommy says inshore, flounder at all the area inlets. Fish around the slack tide using big mud minnows or fingerling mullet right on the edge of the drop-off in those in around the jetty rocks, and then offshore mangrove snappers on the reefs, wrecks, and ledges in 100 feet and deeper. Chum from the bottom using chunked sardines and bonitos. Well, I'd like to welcome Dr. Guy Harvey to the Workbench. And you know, Guy, I know that it's Marlin week here at the Chevy Florida Insider Fisher Report, and certainly a Marlin is very much your passion. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in the Ocean Foundation and the tagging programs.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rick. We just finished an expedition to Mexico. We're tagging white marlin with pop-up archival tags. And we tagged about 9 marlin in 4 days, so quite successful. And we've got some reports already from some of the tracks. And we tagged some last year as well. So we are adding to our experiments.
So let's take a look at the video here, Guy.
Great. Let's have a look.
So this was down off of the Yucatan?
Yes, it was. We do a lot of different kinds of research work there, but this study was just about white marlin. Of course, we've got to catch them first. We're fishing with Captain Anthony Mandillo on the Keen M. We bring the fish in the boat. We put the tag into the fish, into the shoulder. We do this because we want to really control where the tag is, release the fish. I'm there filming the release.
Right.
And we want to make sure that they go off. And of course, the tracks that result from this give us a little bit more insight into their migrations and their natural history. This fish swims from the Yucatan through the Straits of Florida out into the northwestern Atlantic. The tag came off, unfortunately, but we suspect it would have completed that loop and come back into the Caribbean.
So, Guy, let me ask you something. I noticed there in the video that we had an actual, you covered the fish's face. What is that about?
That's about keeping it cool in the boat. We also irrigate it by putting our deck hose into its mouth and put it on a mat so we don't disturb the skin. Treatment of the animal is very important, and you can do it in the water, but you give up an element of control.
right, so one other question. You know, you do a lot and you give back a lot. Tell us how, you know, you're funding all of these projects through some of the other things you do. Tell me a little bit about that.
The tagging projects are funded through the licensing programs that we do, the apparel, for example. We also get other sponsors that came on board. Packy Orfield, the late Packy Orfield, helped us with this white marlin tagging program. And we've got lots of other corporate sponsors now helping because it's the right thing to do for their companies. They want to give back. They want to learn, help us learn more about the fish. And so it's more of a collaborative effort these days than it ever has been. Also because we've got great results and we're learning more about these fish that are so overfished, overexploited, endangered in some cases.
So if somebody's watching and they want to help with the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, how can they go about doing that, Guy?
They can help firstly by being a responsible fisherman. That's always the key thing I say. But secondly, they can donate to our tagging programs or become a hammerhead or join some kind of conservation organization. Not necessarily mine, but obviously that's great because we're at the forefront of this kind of research work. But to sponsor some of the tags, you get the naming rights for your fish, whether it's a shark, a tuna, or a marlin, and you can track the animals over a long period of time. And often we have schools now that will track some of the sharks on a daily basis, and we get school kids joining in the tagging exercise, and it's very educational.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate everything you're doing, and on behalf of all the recreational fishermen throughout Florida and the world, I want to thank you. But you know what? Do you think that maybe we could have some fish tagged Brie?
That would be
What
great.
do you think, Brie? You think we should have a Brie fish?
I think that might be quite possible. Okay, guys and gals, when we return on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're visiting the Keys and going off the deep end, so stay hooked. We will be right back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation. Humminbird. Simply, clearly, better. Decks and Docks Lumber Company. Florida's dock and seawall supplier. And King Sailfish Mounts. www.kingsailfish.com.
What do you think?
When I first sit in the seat, it makes me think of a BMW.
I feel like I'm in a Lexus.
You would think that this was a brand new Audi.
It's like a luxury car.
It feels kind of like an Infinity.
Very similar to Range Rover.
This is pretty high tech.
Yeah, it is. It reminds me of the Mercedes.
This is Chevy?
Wow. I have a new appreciation for Chevy.
They thought about me.
I could totally rock this. This thing feels pretty boss.
It looks kind of dope.
That's pretty cool.
This is the jam.
Pretty bomb, dude.
Maybe I will go Chevy.
Definitely.
Yamaha's next generation V6 four-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome.
Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole other game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the game changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Now it's time for FWC News and Notes. July 6th through July 10th is a saltwater fishing camp in Naples, and also on July 6th there is a marine fisheries management workshop in Naples. And July 11th there's a kids fishing clinic in Palm Coast. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now it's time to go off the deep end.
Well, we're over here at the CCA Workbench, and Hummingbird takes us off the deep end, and I brought in my marlin expert, Chris Sheeder.
Oh, thank you.
Chris, you've caught over 1,000 marlin in your life, and you've caught them all over the place. You've caught them in Hawaii. You've caught them in Madeira, right? You caught them in
Canary Islands.
Yeah, everywhere.
The list goes on and on.
So anybody that has ever caught 1,000 marlin, in my opinion, is an expert. And the guys here watching this week, I want you to tell them what you typically want to use to set up. I think we've established that trolling lures is going to be more effective because you can cover ground. You don't have to wash out baits.
Right.
So what do we do? What mistakes do we make when we're fishing lures?
Well, you know, for the guys in Florida, it doesn't really matter where you fish. Florida, any part of the world. What I try to tell people when you're fishing for blue marlin, okay, you want to simplify things. Okay, I know you got drawers full of lures, you know, teasers, lures. I use teasers. I know a lot of people like to use lures, and that's fine. But try not to use everything all at once, you know? Keep it simple. Right. Keep it simple. 4, 5 lures in the water, that's it. You know, if you want to troll teasers, if you want to troll lures, keep it simple. If you have lures in the water, okay, try not to put teasers in the water. Okay, I know that sounds, for a lot of people, they're going, what are you talking about? Okay?
Right.
Blue marlin are an aggressive fish, but only for a certain amount of time. You're going to get a couple of bites out of them. You're going to get a finite time where they're aggressive, and you want to take advantage of that. If you're trying to get them stuck on a lure, you don't want them hanging out on a teaser.
Right.
Okay, so if you're going to troll lures, troll lures.
Right. So in the lures, let's talk about, there's different shapes and different sizes. Is there anything specific that you like? If a guy's thinking about going down to the tackle store and he's going to buy a marlin lure, is there a specific shape that you like?
Well, you know, you got to have, you don't have to, okay, but you should have a wide range of shapes. You know, you got to have one of these. You know, straight, concaved, slanted, cone, all of them work, and all of them work well, you know, from time to time. You're going to have a hot lure that works for a week. You're going to have a hot lure that works well for a month. You're going to have a hot lure that works in this spot. You're going to have a hot lure that works in that spot. The key, the idea is to have a wide range.
All right, so let me ask you this. Is there any specific color that you like? Have you caught more fish on one color, dark versus bright?
Very popular question. Everybody asks me that all the time. Does color even matter? Okay, color does matter. Blue marlin can see some different colors, okay, but it's only for the first 5, 10, 20 feet of water. Depending on the color. Red is lost quickest, okay? When a fish far away does not see the color of the teaser. When he's coming up and he sees the boat, the boat's the best teaser of all, by the way. When he charges up behind the boat and he looks at those teasers or lures, whatever you have, he's not seeing color. He's just seeing movement, he's seeing shape, he's seeing size. When he gets up onto it, okay, then he starts seeing colors. When he gets close, when he gets into that range where he can see the color, when the color does happen in that water column, then he can see the color.
Okay, we got a minute or so left. Chris, tell me, as a captain, what do you do after we get that marlin on? What's the most important part to help that angler subdue that fish quickly?
You got to catch a fish quick, please. You know, a lot of people like to, when they hook a fish, you know, they keep the boat going forward. You know, they want to keep it tight.
Right.
Stop. Go back and get that fish as quick as possible. You know, hook the fish. Once he's hooked, once he's jumping around, go get him. Help your angler out as a captain. Help your angler out. Get him to the boat quick. You know, don't jump on him when he's jumping out of the water. Don't hurt yourself, but try to get rid of him as quick as possible and for the best chance of for the fish to swim off without too much damage.
One of Casa Vieja's finest. Thank you so much for coming from Guatemala
My
and
pleasure.
sharing some of these great Marlin secrets.
Hope to see you down in Casa
I'll be
Vieja
down there
soon.
soon. I got some things still down there I need to do. I want to go catch those big tunas out of the
And
contender offshore.
I'll be down there too,
gotta get
Chris.
Brie
Don't
down
worry.
there.
I'll be down there.
All right, we'll bring Brie.
We'll bring Brie to catch my first Marlin. That'd be great. Okay, since we have Captain Mark Johnson filling in for Randy Town, the Keys region, I finally get to say, listen up, fish fans. Yes, I got to say it. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine. Enjoying the
Pretty
beautiful
good.
weather down here and getting ready for the weekend.
Tell us about the Marlin fishing, Mark.
Marlin fishing, you know what? It's a great fish that you catch down here in the summertime. And we do have the Marlin in this region, and we find them anywhere from 400 to about 2,000 feet of water. And most of our Marlin are caught while you're dolphin fishing, so they are a great unexpected bite. You can target the Marlin in certain areas down here, like Floyd's Wall and Woods Wall off of Key West, and around our local humps as well. So fishing the lures for the Marlin is always your best bet because you can cover a lot of ground to find these fish. So they can be anywhere in a large area out off our ocean side there, so it's hard to live bait for them because you don't get to cover near as much ground. This week, Captain Robert Morrison on the Quit Your Bitch out of the Lorelei, Alamorada, just catch a white Marlin with angler Jorge Ladon in Traverse, Florida.
All right, what do you have for us offshore? You got some offshore report?
Yep, right now, you know what? The yellowtail fight has been very strong on the edge of the reef. With this upcoming full moon, you're probably going to see a large number of yellowtail in a hot bite for the next week or two. You want to get out to the edge of the reef, anchor down over some rocky bottom, between 50 and 70 feet of water, start chumming, and you got to be very patient. You want to make sure you fish line no heavier than 12-pound test because the water has been so clear and the fish have been very smart and hard to catch. Even though you'll see plenty behind the boat, you really have to be patient and work at it to catch your limit. And a lot of times down here, it's one fish at a time, one line at a time. So a 16th-ounce chartreuse hookup with a piece of fresh cut bait like a bonita or a value strip is your perfect bait to drift back in your thumbstick. You want to leave your bail open until you get a bite, and then you just want to reel and come tight, and then repeat that process, like I said, one at a time.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Inshore, you know, it's still tarpon time. Even though our tarpon fishing is starting to wind down a little bit, with most of the fish around locally being caught during the late dark hours. We still have a few fish moving on the ocean side for the fly fishermen, and we're predicting this next week to probably be the best with the full moon we're going to have, and that's exciting with the Poor Boys Tarpon Tournament coming up. We're starting to see a few more tarpon in the backcountry, which is always good, and anytime now, with the moon, we can start to have the good fish in the backcountry for the next couple months with the tarpon in the Flamingo area. Most of the fishing will happen early morning and be over by 10 o'clock or so it's important to get on the water early as you can. That live pinfish or mullet will be your best bait, unless you're a fly fisherman, which you may encounter some small tarpon in the Everglades National Park this time of year, and they're great fun on that 7 or 8 weight, and you want to make sure you throw that small dark fly.
All right, what else you got for us inshore?
You know, we're still catching the snooks. Right now it's the spawn time, and the snook fishing has been pretty good this last week or so, with the most guys getting into them in quite a few areas around the Flamingo. There's been good reports on the flats in front of Flamingo and the Big Bank, and also along the shoreline. The tide is the most important part to the best fight on the incoming tide, and oftentimes these fish are swimming from the Gulf or the deep water with that incoming tide, headed for the trees, looking for shade and things to eat. Live pilchards, live pinfish have been the bait of choice, and everybody likes to fish them on a 3/8-ounce hookup and let that bait just kind of sit and move along the bottom in the current. And I think here's a photo of Captain Brian Williams, a local fishing guide here in Alamorada, who's good at catching big snooks with his angler, Tommy Rogers, from the Fort Lauderdale area.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for filling in for Randy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla hotspots from the Florida Keys region. Inshore snook. Fish the rising tide with live pinfish on a 3/8-ounce hookup. Drift till you find them, and then anchor down. And then offshore yellowtails fishing 50 to 70 feet of water. Chum heavily and be patient. Use no more than 12-pound test line and a 16th-ounce hookup with a piece of fresh cut bait, Brie.
Did you catch that? He used turpentine.
Oh, I got it.
He used it. We're making it a thing. Okay, now it's time to tell you about some tournaments.
Everything's a thing.
Yeah. In the Florida Keys, tournaments in the Florida Keys. Okay, celebrating its golden anniversary, the Key West Fishing Tournament continues through November 30th and awards citations and other prizes focusing on more than 40 different species. This is a free tournament with entry forms available at tackle stores in the Lower Keys and Key West. The Del Brown Permit Tournament, set for July 11th through the 14th in Key West, honors the late namesake angler who caught and released more than 500 permit on fly off the Keys in his lifetime. The Hooked on Kids Charity Fishing Tournament, set for August 6th and 7th, is headquartered at the Marriott Key Largo Bay Beach Resort. And now, let's hear from our trusty correspondent, as always, in the Florida Keys, Andy Newman.
Well, hi guys. The Bacardi Oakhart Key West Marlin Tournament is set for July 22nd through the 25th and features $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes. But the Bacardi is much more than a fishing event. It's staged during Key West annual Hemingway Days Festival, and let's show you some video from last year. There's all kinds of events that honor Ernest Hemingway, including Key West's version of the Running of the Bulls. And of course, the always popular Papa Hemingway Look-alike contest is staged at Sloppy Joe's Bar, Hemingway's favorite watering hole. Now, each year we get at least 125 Hemingway wannabes, many who have competed for more than 15 years. Now, you're looking at Wally Collins, the 2014 winner. Now, there's more details on the Bacardi tournament at KeyWestMarlin.com, and you can find more information on Hemingway Days Festival and other tournaments in the Florida Keys at FLAKeys.com. Back to you in the studio.
You know, Brie, I'm going to be down there for that Bacardi.
Are you entering?
I might have to go. I certainly got the double chin for it.
Yeah, and you have a little bit of beard coming in too. It's a little white. You could do it. You might not win, but that's okay. You don't have to win everything. Okay, when we continue searching Florida for the best bite of the weekend, we're hanging somewhere in the middle with the Central West and Central East regions, only on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by Aftco. Drummond Community Bank. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
Need new oil? I know, I needed an oil change.
Show your car some love. Get Valvoline oil and filters at Bennett. You want the protection, performance, and peace of mind only Valvoline can deliver.
Bennett Auto Supply. Do it yourself, but not alone.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Casa Vieja Lodge, Guatemala.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
This is amazing.
That's amazing.
Real people are discovering surprising things at Chevy.
We're sold. It's so pretty.
They're good-looking cars. It feels great.
Perfect. This is not what I would expect from a Chevy at all.
Get more than you expect for less than you imagined at the Chevy 72-hour sale. Now get 0% financing for 72 months on most 2015 Chevy vehicles. Hurry, the clock is ticking. Get yours now. The 72-hour sale ends July 9th. find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
For weekly reports from our 9 captains and our latest events, make sure to check out our website at the Chevy Florida Insider FishingReport.com. You can also like us on Facebook and even send us your fish-tastic photos. Plus, follow us on Instagram at Captain Rick Murphy and Official Insider, but mostly Official Insider.
Yes, mostly.
Just mostly. All right, in the Central West region, we're hearing from our firecracker of a Captain, Jeff Page. Hello, Jeffrey.
Firecracker. Oh,
yeah.
It must be 4th of July.
Must be.
Well, believe it or not, you guys, we have a decent number of blue and white marlin in the Star Bright Central West region, and it all starts in at least 600 feet of water, which is about 120 miles on out. Will and Nick Froelich, boys of Double Nickel Charters out of Marina Jack, they like to look for grass lines, rips, and especially, and I know other guys have mentioned this, temperature change, along with big areas of bait, sometimes on top, sometimes they're marking it with their bottom machines. But once they reach the right zone, they like to start trolling lures like black barts, mold crafts, or islanders, and they like to troll them right around 8.5 knots. They sent a nice photo in of a nice blue marlin taken by angler Jason Boyle in 500 feet of water, 500 fathoms of water. Water temperature was 83 degrees aboard the Double Nickel.
All right, what else you got for me offshore, Captain Page?
Gag grouper. Finally, a man can keep him a gag grouper. Gag season is open, and from all reports, there's plenty for the taking. Start looking for them, the better sized ones in 75 feet of water on out, mostly on your wrecks and ledges and areas of hard bottom. They're going to hold a few here and there, but getting your boat properly anchored has been the key. It's been real slick calm out there lately, so the boat's not really drifting too much. Live pinfish, cigars, grunts are the best bet, but make sure you bring a few boxes of frozen sardines for backup and to mix it up. Remember, they're open till December, and they have to be 22 inches in our region.
All right, let's go inshore, Pop.
Inshore, redfish. Rick, a few groups of redfish are starting to show up throughout the entire region. And starting to the south, look for a couple different schools of fish holding out front of Catfish Creek and Widdens Creek. Guys are throwing live pinfish or pilchers, and they're putting them under a cork due to the grass. And then they're throwing the lures. They like throwing the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad in the Drunk Monkey or the Houdini pattern, rigged on an 1/8-ounce weedless Assassin swim bait hook. And then to the north part of the region, look for upper slot fish holding on the mangroves and oyster bars in Palmasola and Terracea Bay on the higher stages of the tide, which, by the way, this weekend will be later in the day. Cut pinfish, ladyfish also, good bait to throw. I've got a photo tonight of Sammy G. He's the son of the chef at Mad Mo's in Osprey, and he caught a redfish Tuesday with me.
Well, he's looking good. Tell me, your tarpon fishing's been red hot, but you couldn't get him to bite. Has that changed?
It's slowed down, definitely, Rick. I believe a lot of the fish have spawned out, but still quite a few tarpon throughout the region, up and down the beaches and in the passes. Captain Clark Wright of the Wright Stuff Guide Service has been averaging 2 to 4 fish a trip, and he's been using a variety of ways to catch them, as well as a variety of ways, different types of bait, from live crabs and thread fins to dead thread fins and menhaden. Captain Clark says the westerly winds that we've had the last few days have actually improved the bite because the water was so clear it muddied it up a little bit, and it's also allowing him to approach the fish a lot easier without spooking the fish. Got a nice photo sent in from Captain Clark and his client Mike Brown with a tarpon they got either Monday or Tuesday.
All right, good report. Jeffrey, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central West region. Captain Page says that this weekend you should go inshore for mangrove snapper. Awesome bite on all the old Skyway rubble, as well as the docks and rock piles in most of the Central West inlets. And then offshore, gag groupers. Nice gags on wrecks and ledges in 120 feet of water off of Venice and Inglewood. And try a live pinfish is going to make your best bet.
Sounds good. Well, staying central, let's motor on over to this, I don't know why I'm talking like that, over to the Central East region. It's because Jeff Page. We're going to motor on over to the Central East region to talk to Captain Jim Ross, who I know has some fun plans for the 4th of July because he's just as fun.
That's it. Tell me, Jimmy.
Yeah, happy 4th of July and Independence Day out there to everybody. I tell you what, we're going to have a big time this weekend. Getting ready to go up and see my son. He's been away for a little while, and I'm going to enjoy that, getting back to see him again.
Oh, yeah, he's at boot camp up north, huh?
He's at the boot camp. He sure is. But
Big
I tell
boy
you what,
boot camp.
we got some marlin through the Central East region. They're normally here in the early spring and summer months, though, to be honest with you. There are some blue marlin that get caught through the middle of the summer, but it's typically over on the other side of the Gulf Stream. When we are catching them, though, we're normally using really medium or large trolling lures or skirted ballyhoo outside of the 350-foot mark. Now, for the white marlin, anglers generally use a real large dredge, a lot of teasers loaded up with mullet on there. Lures like trolled ballyhoo, mullet, or flying fish work really well for them as well. Most guys seem to prefer them weighted and just pull them naked, or just maybe just a small to medium skirt over the top of them for the white marlin. Now, the white marlin are best in April and May as well. That's when they seem to be coming through on the western side of the Gulf Stream. At other times, you can catch them on the other side of the Gulf Stream as well, but that seems to be when they're the thickest. Most of our white marlin are anywhere from, the 180-foot out to about the 500-foot depths. And like I said, the blue marlin average about 150 to 250 pounds that are out there on that eastern side of the stream, and the white marlin are generally around 60 to 70 pounds when we get them. Our other species offshore, we've got this full moon this week, and anglers are going gaga over the mangrove snapper right now. It's been a very anticipated moon in this region. I've talked to a lot of anglers who are wanting to go out. The nighttime bite in particular on the full moon phase can be absolutely epic. So snapper anglers are really looking forward to getting out there and trying their hot snapper spots and seeing if their luck holds out through this year's full moon. This would be the first full moon that they actually spawn on. They'll also go into it next month, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But right now, the wrecks at about 65 to 120-foot depth seem to be holding the mangroves the best. Now, your trick is to pull those fish up, to, get them to the boat. And then that way you're not having to worry about them cutting you off in the wreck or getting eaten by the Goliath grouper or the sharks or the other things that are down there. Now, I found that a mixture of ground chum and glass minnows and chunk baits altogether seems to work pretty good. And pogies and sardines are our two typical ones that we use for chunk baits. We like to use a small, sturdy VMC hook and let the chunks float back in with those sardines chunks and those pogie chunks and those glass minnow pieces. As it's going back in that current, that's when those mangrove snapper typically pick it up. Now, our mangroves are running from about 3 to 7 pounds right now, but you know what? There's going to be some 10 and even some 12-pound fish that are caught, so don't be surprised at the size of the fish you catch when you use this type of a chumming method. Now, inshore species are typically redfish and trout and snook around here, but I kind of am varying a little bit this week because we've got a cold water upwelling that is inundating the whole Central East region right now, and cobia have started to run. In fact, we've got a better cobia run now than we actually had in the spring when we were supposed to be having our cobia run. So anywhere from about 35 to about 65 feet of water seems to be where they're showing up this week from Sebastian through to Ponce. And with that cold water upwelling, anglers are really looking forward to getting out there and doing some sight fishing because in the afternoons those fish pop up to the top where you can cast to them. As long as the water temperature is in the mid to upper 70s, that's how you're going to do best. If you find water temperatures in the lower 70s, which is what we found in the morning time frame, the fish have not been coming up. So wait till the midday or afternoon. The surface temperature warms, the fish come up, and you can catch a lot more fish that way. Now, right now, the Pines, the tip of the Southeast Shoal that's just off of Cape Canaveral, Hetzel Shoal, and also the shoal that extends off the False Cape has been really, really good for the cobia the last couple of days. A lot of those fish are undersized, guys, so be very careful. Don't gaff them. Try to put them in a net if you can, because if you think they're even anywhere close, they're probably smaller than what you think. And once you get one that's small enough, or large enough, I should say, go ahead and put him on ice. But those little ones, put them back in so they can keep growing. Our average fish right now, that's a keeper-sized fish, is between 20 and 45 pounds, though. Now, my last species is speckled trout. The Indian River, Banana River, and the Mesquite Lagoon are all good places to look, but you have got to have two things. One is bait fish, and two is grass. If you don't have both of those together, then you're not going to be in the fish. You want to blind cast in those areas with a saltwater assassin 4-inch sea shad, and you want to put that on a 1/8 to 1/4 ounce hookup jig head. Now, right now, good colors this week have been the Mama's 14K, the Roadkill color, Copper Juice, and Chicken on a Chain. And yes, all of those are actual colors in the assassin lineup, so go look for them. And I'm telling you, you're going to catch trout in the Central East region this week. The other thing is topwater plugs. The Rapala skitter walks are also very effective, especially early in the day right now. And you want to look for bait fish that are fleeing in that 2 to 5 foot depth, and that's where you want to start your search, because that's where you're going to find those trout busting in, and a lot of times you'll find jacks and ladyfish mixed in with them. And when you find that, you can catch some really big numbers of trout when you find all three of those predators keying in on those bait fish. Right now, our average trout's running about 12 to 14 inches, but some of them are topping that 20-inch mark. And I have got a double trout here, that picture that I want to show you guys and gals, because this thing is absolutely phenomenal to see. That is right there is what a Rapala skitter walk can do for you if you will actually take it out of the package, tie it on, and cast it out around those bait fish schools right now. Two beautiful trout, both on the same hook. So if you don't think Rapalas work, go get you one and try it. I'm not saying you're going to catch two, but I bet you'll catch at least one, and it's going to be a good one.
All right, good job, Jim. I like it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup lure hotspots from the Central East region. Inshore, speckled trout. Near Black Point, use Houdini-colored Assassin sea shads on an 1/8-ounce hookup jig head. And then offshore, mangrove snapper on Mama's Camp Wreck. You chum heavily and use chunk baits on Suffolk's 30-pound fluorocarbon leader.
That trout was those trouts were twinning, just like
They
you
were
and I,
twinning.
with our orange and blue.
That's it, like us.
Like us, we're twins. I hope you people of the Stars and Stripes are ready, because coming up in just a few, we're checking out new products and then going over to the Northwest region, so don't you run off. Look at that yum.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Navionics, we start where the road ends. Maverick Boat Company, celebrating 30 years of leadership in innovation, conservation, and stability. And First National Bank, your first choice for better banking.
At Yamaha, reliability is a family tradition. Meet the next generation. 4 new advanced technology-inspired inline 4-cylinder performers. Bred from the reliability and boater satisfaction that is part of Yamaha's DNA. They prove that when power gets lighter, faster, stronger, and smarter, boating gets even better. And more satisfying for boaters like you.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
All fishermen are created equal. Some just use better fishing line.
Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, and as you can tell, I got Brie over here. We're going to cover some new products. You know, Brie, cleaning the boat in the Murphy household. We've been doing it for 35 years.
Need some good stuff to do that, huh?
You're absolutely right. Starbright certainly has some great products. The super new orange, biodegradable. What I like about this is, you know how you get the stench in a boat from chum bags and whatnot?
Yes.
The key is this, with the citrus is the flavor that I like. And my boat smells like an orange after I get done. And that I like, clean. But then after that, we certainly take the Starbright to keep it all cleaned up. The boat guard, the speed detailer, it's real simple stuff to use. You just spray it on, leave it on there, rub it a little bit, let it haze over, and then we wipe it off. It's what we use between waxings. So what do you got over here?
Well, on my head, did you see these?
No, I haven't seen those.
These are, well, they're in my hair, so that's fun. That's always really fun. Just yank it out.
Just pull your
like
hair
earlier
out, Brie. I've
when
been
you
doing it.
came with me with a knife trying to get my hair out of my. Okay. Anyway, so these are the Laredos.
The
Ooh la
Laredo.
la. Yes, and they have amber lenses.
Uh-huh.
And as you can see, they have a rose gold frame, and
Now,
they're beautiful.
are
I
these
wear them all the time.
Are these unisex, you think?
Oh, you've got some hair there.
Oh.
Yes, I think they could be a little bit of unisex, but you know, they might look better on women. I don't know. They look good on you too.
I don't know how anything could look better than that on me.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay,
Come on.
fine. All right.
All right,
I
now,
like these. though.
Guy
I'm
Harvey
gonna see
was here, and he left this bottle of rum. This the new spice rum, Guy Harvey spice rum. It's a kind of a combination between a light and a dark, and it's very, very good. Certainly, this is what I like about all the things that Guy Harvey's doing as they sell these private label stuff. The licensing fees go towards the Ocean Foundation, which pays for tracking programs. Hence, this is why,
so much.
you know, this is why we are partners. They do great stuff.
And I see a little scribble on here. What's that?
He signed it so that I could give it to Chris Sheeder. I'm going to give it to Chris as soon as we get done with this segment, and he can sample it by the time he gets to the parking lot, I'm sure.
First date on the way home.
Speaking of Guy Harvey.
Speaking of Guy Harvey, we have 4th of July gear. Hey,
Nice. Hey.
This weekend.
I like it. Look at it.
It's
boy.
a swordfish t-shirt, and it's gorgeous. Red, white, and blue, stripes and stars. I actually just posted a picture on Instagram of me wearing this shirt when I was fishing with Captain Pat Deneen.
So what about the matching shorts to go with it, Brie?
Well,
you think
Rick,
being we're talking about Marlin, those
talking
would work?
about Marlins. Yes, these are the Marlin shorts, and they go perfect with the t-shirt, by the way. They have breathable fabric, so, you know, quick dry and all of that. They've got a nice little pocket here on the side.
Right.
Beautiful fabric, like I said, nice and soft. I don't know, I'd wear them.
You know, there's a board short with a utility pouch. I love it. Every man needs to have a utility pouch.
And like
We're
we
not gonna talk
said,
about that?
every time you buy something that's Guy Harvey,
Yes.
Let's just
Again,
get off that
you know
topic.
what happens.
no, the proceeds go towards the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, and it helps support marine
Marine research.
Thank you.
All
And
right,
Suffolk.
lastly, Suffolk's, certainly a great fishing line, 832. Now, Brie, not that we haven't talked about 832 in the past, but here's the difference. Now, Suffolk's is making these big spools. You can buy bulk spools now at your local retailers. If the retailer doesn't have it, certainly all you got to do is ask. That's one of the things that I think that Suffolk's is really going to do big in 2015, and we're going to find out all these cool new products in a couple weeks at ICAST in Orlando.
Ooh, ICAST.
ICAST. You're going to be there.
I will be there for
I'm gonna
3
be
days. It's going to be a blast.
Costa's going to have a great party, so
At
guys.
Howl at the Moon, right?
That's right.
Woohoo, that's going to be so fun.
So come and see us in Orlando at ICAST. We'll be there all Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yes, we will. And you know, Rick, we want to talk about the CCA Star Tournament. Can we
Right.
do that?
We sure can.
Okay, because they're really excited. 2,800 registered.
Right.
1,700 logged entries in Star so far.
Right.
But we want to mention the youth angler entries are very light.
Right.
And you get a free Star entry with new Tide membership. So that's really cool. But also, there's $50,000 in scholarship money that you can get. $25,000 and $5,000 scholarships.
For kids.
Isn't that cool? For kids.
Yeah.
And then you have ladies and fly entries as well that are light. So ladies, kids, parents, get out there, enter. Sign up. I mean, why wouldn't you want to sign up, right?
Right.
You're gonna
Why
shake my
wouldn't you?
hand like
Yeah,
like
that's
the
my
other
cue to
guests?
say you're done.
I'm done.
All right, now everybody knows our trick.
Shakes the hand. All right, everyone. Make sure you're listening up for the Northwest region with the big, the bad, the rough, the tough, Captain Hagalicious.
Marlin, we've got them in our region, but not a lot of people run out to go get them. It's such a far run in my region to get out there to fish for them. It's really not something that's targeted too much. We have a couple tournaments in our region, the Old Salt Tournament, the Loop Tournament. They get out there and they catch a lot of marlin, but it's a big run, it's a big gas expense. We've got them if you want to go get them. And all the stuff that they've been talking about during the show will work for us on my coast too. But we do have right now, gag grouper season just opened up today. Everywhere throughout my region reports really good gag grouper fishing right now. Rock piles, ledges, anywhere from 74 to 120 20 feet of water.
been really good. I can't pinpoint the depth anymore because they seem to be everywhere right now. Keeper-sized fish pretty much throughout the region. 80 to 125 pound test fluorocarbon leader. That suffix and that fluorocarbon works really good. That's what I used. 6/0, 9/0 VMC circle hook. 6 to 8 ounce egg lead on a standard bottom rig is what we've been using. Pinfish and grass guns are your bait of choice. Spend a little extra time, get your good bait, good hand-sized pinfish, good hand-sized fronts, and catch them hook and line, or you can actually put pinfish traps out, catch them like that too. But if you have the good baits, you'll catch those good fish. Also, just opening up, scallop season just opened up, and their reports have been coming in really good. Captain Mario Costello out of Crystal River reports easy to obtain right now. Grab the family, get out on the water right now. It's a great little thing for the family to get out and do. You can take the kids out there. Remember to fly those dive flags. If you don't have a boat, you can. There's a lot of scallop charters up in Crystal River at a plantation inn. Is one place you can check out to get on a scallop charter. A little bit of insight. They're in about 3 to 4 feet of water right now. They're a little bit deep, but not too bad. And I got a picture there of Mario's crew with a nice little mess of scallops.
All right, I love it. Putting those kids on them already. All right, what else you got for us?
Snook fishing right now throughout my region seems to be really good. If you want to be around the beaches and passes, this moon right now, I've seen a couple of spawn balls. I saw one tonight. So the snook are spawning, and they're going to be in the beaches and the passes. Pinfish, grass fronts, spend a little time like I was talking about the grouper. You get those bigger baits, you're going to catch those bigger fish. And using those 6 and 8 inch grass fronts and catching some big fish. We caught some fish today in the 40 inch range. But just drift out in the pass, 40 pound test, fluorocarbon leader, 6 to 8 aught circle hook, and a little bit of lead just to keep it on the bottom on that outgoing tide has been trick.
All right, hey, that's a good report from the Yeti region. Jeff, if you're still there, what the heck is a spawn ball?
Spawn ball.
Go ahead.
The snook will actually drift out in the tide in the passes, and
Right.
the females will come up in the tide,
Right.
and all the male snook will push up next to her, and she'll start laying her eggs out, and they'll come up and feed her eggs as they drift out in the tide. It'll be 100 fish, one little ball.
Man, I like it. That sounds like something I'd like to try one time. All right, bud, I'm going to go ahead and go from the Northwest Yeti region, and we're going to see what the Drummond Community Bank hotspots are inshore. Tarpon. Look for the fish rolling along the beaches in the morning or the late afternoon. Use flies, plugs, or live thread fins. And then offshore, groupers in the entire region from 80 to 120 feet of water on the rock piles and ledges. Use pinfish on a standard bottom rig, Brie.
Well, that was a great question, Rick. That's how babies are made, folks. Okay, coming up on Kefiffer, we're investigating the weekend bite over in the East and Southeast regions, so stay on board. We'll be right back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. StarTron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti Coolers, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing. Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist. And Sea Sucker, vacuum mounting systems.
Serious fishermen demand quality equipment on their boats and on shore. That's why Florida boaters have trusted Decks and Docks for over 20 years for dock lumber, hardware, and accessories. Tough products that stand up to the roughest environments, and elegance to please the most discerning homeowner tastes. Decks and Docks, supplying waterfront customers with lumber, decking, and seawall, with 10 locations across Florida.
Can a truck change how people feel about a guy? We talk to real people, not actors. We showed them 2 pictures of the same guy in the same location. The only difference, the vehicle behind him.
The guy with the truck would definitely have like a German Shepherd dog. I mean, come on. Like a tarantula, a rattlesnake.
What kind of pet would this guy have?
Maybe like some birds.
You know you want a truck. The all-new Chevy Colorado. Motor Trend's 2015 Truck of the Year.
We're here at Power Pole headquarters, and today's Power Pole tip of the week is about what is a power pole. So let's talk about it. Back in 1998, Power Pole was first established, and it had a 6-foot power pole, but essentially things haven't changed much since then, other than the variety of different units that you can get. The idea was to be able to anchor in very shallow water, and more importantly, be able to control the way your boat might have laid on a shoreline. But the thing that I can remember is back in 2009, getting back into the bass business is really what allowed Power Pole to expand. And certainly Power Pole's line of products have evolved because of all the different needs that we have in today's fishing. Now, whether it's anchoring from the bow or 2 power poles on the stern, it allows you to have more control over your boat, and that's why Power Pole is the ultimate anchoring shallow water system. And that's today's Power Pole tip of the week.
Right now, we are heading over to the East region with Captain Mike Holliday. And I need to clear something up, Mike. I know the sailfish are going off in your region because I saw quite a few free jumpers this weekend out there. But what about the Marlin?
You know, it's just billfish time in my area, I guess. The majority of blue marlin that are caught in my area, they come as incidental catches when anglers are targeting other species, although a few anglers do target them. You know, for the most part, the best marlin fishing is off Palm Beach County, where the Gulf Stream comes in close to shore. The deep water off Lost Tree Village, that gets a lot of bonita in the summer months, right now, you know, all the way through August. And that draws a lot of big marlin into the area to feed. Push Button Hill, that's an atoll southeast of St. Lucie Inlet, that also sees some fish. In fact, there's like 150-pound fish that was caught on Push Button Hill this past Sunday. But serious marlin anglers in Martin and St. Lucie County, they usually run all the way across the Gulf Stream to the northwestern tip of the Bahama Bank to a place they call the Pocket or the Corner, and then they look for them there. Off the Pocket, anglers target blue marlin with big cone head lures or by trolling rigged Spanish mackerel or horse ballyhoo. But off Lost Tree Village, the way to go is to slow troll a live bonita that's been bridled. One of the big problems off Lost Tree Village is all the sharks that are out there. One of the boats out of Sailfish Marina hooked 3 blue marlin in a single day 2 or 3 weeks ago, and 2 of those fish were immediately eaten by the sharks. So, you know, you got to get them in quick. If you see a shark come up on them, break them off and give them a chance. Average blue marlin in my area is going to be like 150 to 300 pounds.
All right, what else you got for us offshore, Hollywood?
Well, you know, if you've been fishing offshore between Hope Sound and Jensen Public Beach in the last couple of weeks, then you've seen all the free jumping sailfish in the area. The sailfish bite continues to be fantastic, with fish being caught as shallow as 50 feet of water and as deep as 150 feet. And there's really like 3 strategies for targeting these summer sails right now. You can blind troll rig ballyhoo, hope to come across fish, you know, work from one wreck to another or down a rip edge or a weed line, or you can slow troll live baits in the same areas, or you can look for free jumpers and then run to those areas, try and put yourself ahead of those moving fish and put out baits. All 3 techniques have been really effective. For live baits, it seems like pilchards, sardines, and thread fins have been the top baits. The average sailfish in my region has been about 40 pounds. I got a photo there. Captain Greg Snyder out of Stewart. He had Sunday off. He took his daughter Samantha Snyder out, and they caught that sailfish in 63 feet of water dead east of St. Lucie Inlet, and that fish ate a live pilchard.
I'm digging that, Mike. Go ahead, tell me about some inshore stuff.
Well, you know, this week's full moon sparked the first major movement of snook to the inlets for the summer spawning period. So, you know, there'll be schools of fish in the inlets, as well as fish moving along the shorelines near the inlets and along the beaches. So that means places like the south side of Palm Beach Inlet, the north side of Jupiter Inlet, and the south side of Fort Pierce Inlet will all have good concentrations of snook for catch and release fishing. There'll also be good beach fishing at the Hope Sound National Wildlife Refuge and also at the Juno Beach and Lake Worth Piers. And you can target the fish, you know, at first light you can throw topwater plugs or swimming plugs or a shad type bait like a copper juice colored 4-inch sea shad with a 3/8 ounce jig head on it. And then as the sun gets up, you almost got to go to live baits, live sand perch, croakers, pilchards, and thread fins. Average snook's going to be 5 to 12 pounds. Handle them gently, try not to take them out of the water. Season is closed on them, then we want to take care of those fish. Now, the other bite, over the last week, I've seen one of the best tarpon pushes I've seen in 20 years. Schools of fish are pouring out of the Keys. They're coming up southeast Florida, and as they work their way north along the beaches to their summer haunts, they're coming by my coast. I'm seeing, 5 to 8 schools of fish a day, along with a half a dozen small pods of travelers. Now, some of those schools that I've seen have, 200, 300, 400 fish in them. Start the day looking for laid-up fish around the inlets at first light. Then, as the sun gets up a little bit, run the beaches with the sun at your back, looking for those traveling schools and traveling pods in 12 to 20 feet of water. When you spot fish, make a wide circle around them, get in front of the fish, shut down, let them come to you or go to them with your trolling motor, pitch out a pilchard, a crab, a mullet, or a sardine. They'll also eat swimming plugs, and they'll also eat flies with a puglese, peanut butter and jelly fly being the hot fly right now. Average tarpon is 60 to 100 pounds.
Man, I like peanut butter and jelly when I'm bass fishing. Tell me about the bass fishing report.
That's funny. Well, this week, I'm really hearing good reports out of the Harris chain of lakes, with Lake Dora, Lake Griffin, and the Lake Eustis canals producing good numbers of fish. The thing is, it's been super hot in Central Florida, so the bite is happening really from safe light to about 10 a.m., and then it's done. Bluegill are still bedding in the shallow areas, so, Bass Assassin Elite Shiner in that bluegill flash color, rig it on a swim hook, cast it up into the Kissimmee grass. That's going to pull a lot of fish out of the grass. The drawback is a lot of the fish that are up in the Kissimmee grass are small. I was talking to Captain Dean Herdman, and he said if you're looking for a big fish, the key right now is to fish the points in the grass with big worms and work the worms super slow. If you think you're moving it slow, cut the speed in half, and then you're moving at the right speed. Anything watermelon colored is the color to go right now. Live shiners are going to work as well, particularly early in the morning, and in the deeper areas like the gator hole. Average fish is 1 to 3 pounds, and there's some 6-pounders on the edges of the grass. I got a photo there. That's Xavier Bass. He was fishing with his father, Chris, as part of a Father's Day present. They were fishing with Dean Herdman, and they caught that fish on Lake Eustis. So there's a pretty good bite going on Lake Eustis, guys.
Well, it's a good report from the Decks and Docks East Region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the East Region hotspot. Captain Mike says inshore spotted sea trout on the east and west bars off of Middle Cove using Houdini-colored saltwater assassin rigged weedless. Look for the decaying weeds on the surface. And then offshore mutton snapper, 72 feet of water on the Loran Tower ledge. Use live pilchards with a cut the tail off.
The tail's cut off, right?
Oh, you know what? It looks like you used some of that Starbright boat detailer on your lips. They're nice and shiny. Just saying.
Yeah. Now we're drifting on down to our southeast expert, Captain Jimbo Thomas, or Jiminy Bimini, as I like to refer to him when he's in Bimini, which is always. Ahoy, matey. Is he there?
Brie.
There you are.
Rick.
What's going on there,
Chris,
Jimmy Bo?
How are y'all doing?
Pretty good.
I'm doing great. Yes, we are in Bimini. Well, I'm no Chris Sheeder when it comes to catching marlin, but we've caught our fair share. And we would catch a lot more blue marlin in the southeast region if we actually fished for them. Now, the blue marlin that are hooked and hopefully caught, they're usually on lighter tackle intended for mahi or some other species. And in most instances than not, the marlin wins the battle. Now, to really target marlin and have a good chance at catching them, we like to use 30, 50, or even 80-pound tackle with rigged horse ballyhoo, mackerel, and mullet, or medium to large lures with extra strength 9.0 to 12.0 hooks and 200 to 300-pound monofilament leaders. Now, when it comes to lures, there's a lot of debate on which colors to use, but in my experience, it really doesn't matter. Those colors are just made to catch us at the tackle store. So once we buy them, those lures have already caught their biggest catch they're ever going to see. But most of the blue marlin encountered are offshore in blue water from 500 feet on out. And when using natural baits, we troll at around 6 knots, and with the lures at 8 to 10 knots. And then there's the occasional white marlin caught. Since they average in the 60 to 80-pound range, they can be handled on lighter tackle. And most of the whites are caught in the winter and in the spring on trolled baits and live baits intended for sailfish. And we average about 1 white marlin and 1 blue marlin a year. But like I said, if we really fish for them, we catch a lot more of them. Now, the dolphin fishing, it remains consistent offshore. There have been mostly schoolies in the 3 to 6 pound range, anywhere from 5 to 18 miles offshore and around sargassum weed. And at times, this sargassum weed's been so scattered, it's been almost impossible to fish through. They're also being found under anything floating. Now, it seems the fish have been staying deep in the morning, so if you find something that looks promising and you don't see any fish right away, put your live baits out, stick it out for 15 or 20 minutes, soaking those live and cut baits, and a lot of times these fish have been popping up from down deep. Now, in the afternoons, they have been popping up, and the birds have been on top of them, and they've been eating trolled baits and lures, and that's if the weed isn't too thick, and then small live filters, blue runners, and cut valley or bonita. And there's only been a few larger fish found in the last week, at least that I've heard of. The best catch was Captain Frank Godwin aboard the Sunny Boy out of Key Biscayne. He had a 47-pounder earlier in the week. Now, I got a picture here. This is a 35-pounder that we caught a few weeks ago aboard the Thomas Flyer, and that's the biggest one that we've had in the last few weeks.
Look at that guy hugging the fish, man. I like it. He's hugging the fish. All right, let's go inshore.
Yeah, that's a great catch there. Now, inshore, we got peacock bass in the lake and the canals of South Dade. And with all this hot weather that we've had, the peacocks have also been hot. They've been feeding on schools of small minnows, so the key is to find the bait and the peacocks. That's where they're going to be, right around those schools of minnows. Bring a cast net along to net your own bait or buy some small live shiners. Otherwise, cast small rapalas and chartreuse, blue and silver, or quarter-ounce DO8 Terrorize. And there's no need to get an early start because these peacocks, they bite best in the heat of the day, and the bite can get exceptionally good right after the passing of one of these afternoon thunderstorms. Now, we still have plenty of tarpon in and around the inlets and also around the bridges and dock lights at night. In the inlets, mark these fish on the depth machine or look for these tarpon rolling and then drift live crabs through the area. The tarpon, they've also been off the beaches adjacent to the inlets, and it's a lot easier to fish off these beaches with the calm weather that we've had, and then you don't have to fight all the boat traffic and the current that you have to deal with in the inlet. Off the beaches, they've been eating live crab, pilchards, herring, and mullet. And if the water's real clear, which it has been, you might have to scale down the tackle, be a little more stealthy. So don't be afraid to go down to smaller circle hooks and fluorocarbon leaders as light as 30-pound tests to get these tarpon to bite. Then around the bridges, fish live or artificial baits along the shadow line on the outgoing tide. And these same fish that are around the bridges at night, they can be found in the deeper holes in the bays as the sun comes up, and then they can be caught on live baits and crabs throughout the day for the most part.
All right, thank you, Jimbo. Great report from the Captain Harry's Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from First National Bank of South Florida. Inshore, look for the tarpon in the deeper holes of the ICW and bays, drift live crabs throughout the area. And then offshore, look for the birds working over the schools of mahi, cast live, and cut bait.
I think we're overdue for a trip on the Thomas Flyer. What do you think?
I think I'm ready.
I think me too. Okay, stick around for more fun in the sun, because when we circle back, we're seeing what our Coastal Conservation Minute Tip is, and then catching up with the Southwest region right here on the Chevy
Florida
Insider
Fishing
Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevrolet, find new roads. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. The IGFA, conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. And there's no stopping Okuma.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Inside you, there's an outside you. A you that takes the road less traveled than the road less traveled. and finds the comforts of home extremely uncomfortable. This is for that you.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
This is amazing.
That's amazing.
Real people are discovering surprising things at Chevy.
We're sold. It's so pretty.
They're good-looking cars. It feels great.
Perfect. This is not what I would expect from a Chevy at all.
Get more than you expect for less than you imagined at the Chevy 72-hour sale. Now get 0% financing for 72 months on most 2015 Chevy vehicles. Hurry, the clock is ticking. Get yours now. The 72-hour sale ends July 9th. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission recently created the Gulf Reef Fish Survey and needs your participation. The information you will provide will help the FWC paint a better picture of Gulf Reef fisheries. Through this program, researchers will be able to better determine how many people in Florida are targeting reef fish like red and vermilion snappers, groupers, amberjacks, and gray triggerfish. Participating in the Gulf Reef Fish Survey is easy, and there's no cost. All you have to do is visit license.myfwc.com, click on Purchase a License to add Gulf Reef Angler to your cart. You can also sign up when renewing and purchasing a saltwater fishing license at any retailer such as tackle shops, sporting goods stores, and tax collectors' offices. Now, if you're 65 or older, you don't need a license, but you will need to get the survey. Want to know more, including who is required to participate and what reef fish species are part of the program? Visit myfwc.com/fishing and click on Saltwater Recreational Regulations and Gulf Reef Fish Survey.
Oh, look at those smiling faces. Wave hi, guys, with the flags. All right, over in the Southwest region is our last captain of the show, Ronnie Houston, who has lots of options for this weekend's butt.
Lots of options?
Lots of options.
Ronnie, what do you got?
Well, you know what? There ain't no better way to enjoy the red, white, blue weekend this week, especially in the region where the gag grouper bite opens July 1st. But then also, the red grouper bite remains strong from Goodland to Wiggins Pass, but depths have varied. There are some guys on moderate weather fishing bay boats, 22-foot bay boats in depths of 33 to 40 feet along ledges and hard bottom, and guys who are catching them in depths of anywhere from 65 to 80 feet fishing the same pattern. Also, some are strictly drifting with white bucktails, white glowworms, or chartreuse tails, as well as squid. Others are using live grunts, pinfish, cut squid, herring, and sardines. Believe it or not, grouper all through the region is great right now, especially with the weather we're having. But then also on the offshore side, yellowtails and mangrove snappers, Sanibel, Boca Grande in depths of 60 to 80 feet. Some reports have been a little closer. Some reports for the mangroves have been wrecks, and others have been fishing ledges. Timing has determined where the fish are. Also, yellowtails seem to be just above the mangroves. Flatline back or a little weight may be needed, as well as bucktails and troll rights. Cut base to include pilchards, herring, and squid. But on the inshore side, trout. You want to concentrate right now from Mormon Key to Lawson's River. Fishing for trout remains outstanding, and you can even catch these fish in the heat of the day. As in most regions, you want to get out early before the heat of the day and the bite shuts down. But the better tides this week have been the last of the outgoing to the first half of the incoming, targeting the grass flats, troughs, edges using topwater plugs, early morning in chrome and red and white, also the Bass Assassin 4-inch paddle tail and Houdini color, as well as the oval quick fork to locate the fish with an 18-inch leader, quarter-ounce jig head with chicken on a chain, sexy shad or slamming chicken. You can use live shrimp under a cork, but to me, the artificials are working just as good, if not better. No problem getting the limit once located. Then also the snook from Gordon's Pass to Fort Myers Beach, Nighttime with the full moon, fishing along docks, seawalls, as small as bridge spans. On the late night incoming, moving water has triggered the bite and is better. Keep bait steadily moving through the light or edges of the shadow lines where the light meets the dark that is not lit. Also dark-colored shrimp imitations as well as 3 to 4 inch soft plastics, live shrimp, live pilchers, chum to get the fish going. And a quick thing, Rick, last week you asked me a question about the Akuma reels. One thing you guys got to understand is back in the day, the product wasn't the best, but these guys work hard now. They've turned things around. Look at their warranties and look at their prices. One thing you got to understand is if the reels didn't work and the product wasn't good, Ron Houston wouldn't be using it. So before you go out and go get your next reel, give these guys a shot.
All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, tarpon fish the bridges at night from Fort Myers Beach to Punta Gorda using live mullet, large lip plugs, and 5 to 8 inch weighted swim baits. And then offshore, permit and cobia. Use live crabs and large live baits from Marco to Sanibel, 15 to 25 miles out.
Well, Ronnie, that was quite the endorsement. He doesn't use anything but the best.
You know what, Brie? Jeffrey's using them. I'm using them. Tommy's using them.
I'm using them.
Ronnie's using them. You're using them. And the point being is we got a lot
Everyone's doing
of
it.
field testing.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed with the product.
Sounds good to me. Good product's always a good thing. All right, before we give you permission to break and go enjoy this fun and patriotic weekend, sit tight because we are returning to give you a sneak peek on what to look forward to next week. See hi to those smiling
What do you
faces.
think? When I first sit in the seat, it makes me think of a BMW.
I feel like I'm in a Lexus.
You would think that this was a brand new Audi.
It's like a luxury car.
Feels kind of like an Infinity.
Very similar to Range Rover.
It's pretty high tech.
Yeah, it is. It reminds me of the Mercedes.
This is Chevy?
Wow. I have a new appreciation for Chevy.
They thought about me.
I could totally rock this.
This thing feels pretty boss.
It looks kind of dope.
That's pretty cool.
This is the jam.
Pretty bomb, dude.
Maybe I will go Chevy.
Definitely.
I got my first Yamaha in 1994, and I still use that outboard in the Bahamas today. This Yamaha 130 has over 2,000 hours on it, and it sometimes sits for 6 months. I can always depend on it starting and performing like it did when it was new. Everybody knows Yamaha stakes their reputation on reliability, and for me, that Yamaha 130 is living proof. So if you're considering a Yamaha, I can tell you that reliability and performance is something that you can count on for a long time. Forage fish are small fish that hold marine food webs together. Put simply, forage fish like pilchards turn sunshine into snook. The IGFA and other conservation organizations are working with the FWC to improve forage fish management in Florida. Ensuring that there's enough food in the water for our game fish will maintain Florida's legacy as the fishing capital of the world. Visit floridaforagefish.org to learn more and to sign the Forage Fish Pledge.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And make sure to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, it's all about tuna. Be sure to tune in to SunSports every Thursday, plus you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for times. Rick, I love your hat.
You do?
I do. It's very masculine.
How come you always look so sexy and I look like such a dork?
Well, I don't want to explain it, but you know, this hat helps. You know,
It does?
side. These candles are spitting at me.
Hey, can
which
we
only mean
sing?
one
Can we
thing.
have the audience sing for Brie? Brie's birthday is actually 4th of July. She's gonna be a big whopping 25.
Whopping. It's whopping.
All right, so we're gonna sing as we get ready to say goodbye to everybody. But
Okay.
you know what?
What?
It was really impressive to have two guys that are really experts in marlin. If you think about Chris Sheeder
yeah.
catching 1,000 fish, 1,000 marlin.
That's amazing.
In his career. I know that in Midway, he caught 2 in one day that were over 1,000 pounds. And listen to this, Guy Harvey caught 2 In Madeira, over 1,000 pounds.
Oh my gosh,
So I don't
that's
know.
amazing.
I don't know
You've witnessed
anybody
history
who's
tonight,
ever
people.
caught a 1,000-pounder, and we had 2 guys in one night right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Both of them caught 1,000-pounders.
Do you know why?
Because
it's the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. That's why.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So, what are you doing for your birthday?
I'm going camping at Ginny Springs.
Oh, whoopee.
What do you do?
Here,
I'm
take your
going-
hat. Take this goofy hat for your boyfriend and give it to him on your birthday.
Okay. Can we
All
sing
right,
happy
let's
birthday
go.
now?
Happy birthday to
That's
you.
nice.
Happy birthday to
Should I start blowing
you.
them out now?
Happy birthday, dear Brie. Happy birthday to you.
Happy 4th of July!
You look
Thank
good.
you, Rick. What's up?
Hey, thanks for watching,
Thank
guys.
you.
Good show.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We'll see you next week.